Welcome back, everybody, to week number 2 of The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm Chris Stewart from Crimson Tide Sports Network. You know these two guys, A.J. McCarron, Trent Richardson, two of the best ever to wear the Crimson helmets. And, guys, they are letting us back for week number 2. I think we've defied the odds already, and a lot of really good stuff to talk about. Later in the show, we've got a couple of major topics that are not football related that we want to go over. Actually, one is, one isn't. But Labaron Philon announcing this week or over the end of last week, since we were last with everybody, that he is indeed going to come back for another season at the University of Alabama. Literally at the deadline, took his name out of the NBA draft and has decided he's going to play another year for the Crimson Tide. We'll discuss how big of an impact that is for Alabama basketball this season, but also how big that can be for Labaron's future and what that really will mean for him and as far as the NBA draft next year. So that's coming up a little bit later in the show. Also, as much as the game itself is the game, the business of college football is so big. And part of that these days, especially, is the fact that Madden is back. The EA sports game, I should say, is back. And so we've got the players that are having the impact, such as the guy that's on the cover from the Alabama Crimson Tide, Ryan Williams. So we'll let you guys share some video game memories for you and what it means to you and what you think it means for the game to have that back, but also what it means to have Ryan Williams on the cover. And hopefully it's not like Sports Illustrated where there's a jinx involved and he's just going to have a great year. But we're going to start with what happened at the SEC spring meetings in Destin. And guys, the college football playoff format is such a huge part of what's going on. AJ, let's start it with you. There is this conversation, or there was, about a 4-4-2-2-1 automatic qualifier. The league now, the SEC, apparently preferring a 5 auto bid and 11 at-large bid model. The Big Ten saying, Give me your thoughts, overview of, again, how it affects the SEC and what that looks like to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Greg Sankey's doing a good job of fighting for our conference, at least, right? Listen, he has the offer from ESPN for however tens of millions of dollars to add a ninth in conference game for the league, going from 8 to 9. The issue with the 4 automatic bids, if you're Greg Sankey or the SEC, and the reason you don't do this, right, is because in the end, towards the end of the season, when these rankings are coming out, it's not a surprise if the SEC has 6 to 8 teams ranked in the top 25. So 6 to 8 teams that could possibly make it into the college football playoff. And especially if you're going to expand to 16 teams, why would you limit yourself to only 4 automatic bids, right? Like, you should be pushing for every automatic bid that you can possibly get, especially if you got the Big 10, the Big 12, and every other conference that's against us and wanting us to add that ninth in conference game. It only makes sense. But then it goes back to him fighting the college football playoff committee on top of that, because he's fighting for, hey, if y'all want us to go by everything y'all are saying, you want us to add a ninth game, you want us to only get a certain amount of automatic bids in here, how about you help us out? And the first metric on your system for seeding teams should be strength of schedule, because last year you proved as a committee that you didn't give one crap about strength of schedule, right? You allowed SMU, who was 41st in strength of schedule last year to bump over Alabama, that was 20th strength of schedule. And then on top of that, you also showed that you had no clue what you were doing when Clemson beat SMU in the ACC championship. And then you proceeded to still put them ahead of Clemson when it came to the rankings. What sense did that make? And hell, Clemson had a better strength of schedule than them at sitting at 28th last year. So if you're Greg Sankey, you're doing the right thing. You're fighting for your league. You're fighting for your conference, your players, your coaches. You got to have one of these things go your way to end up somewhat. All right, we'll give a little, but we're going to take some of this as well when it comes to the rest of the NCAA.
Trent, I think we're all kind of in agreement on this. These other conferences like the format because they don't feel like their ceiling year in and year out is as high as the Southeastern Conference. So they're happy to get 4 in or 2 in or 1, whatever the case may be. The SEC is going, no, we're going to bank on ourselves. We're going to gamble on ourselves because we think history shows we're going to have more than 4 that are worthy of this and can get a better number in.
Well, Greg is an SEC guy, and Greg feel like, hey, if you feel like your conference is good enough, then let's just go by who's the highest ranked. Let's just go by strength of schedule. Honestly, y'all haven't been going by strength of schedule because, as AJ just mentioned, SMU definitely shouldn't jump Clemson, and they damn sure shouldn't jump Alabama. And that's just me, and I feel like a lot of people around the world feel like that. One of the things, man, they got to realize that at the end of the day, like, Greg is trying to protect the brand of the SEC and protect the brand of the kids with protecting with the ninth game situation, with the playoff committee. Like, don't limit us. I keep saying this, and he keep pounding this in folks' head. Like, y'all can keep playing checkers. I'm gonna play chess. So if y'all gonna do that, I'll give you something, but y'all gonna have to. We can't be denied on how many we can get in a playoff, especially when it's 16 teams. No, that's not fair because we just counted last week going into the championship week. We had 6 teams that was in the top. No, we had 5 to 6 teams that was in the top 15.
15, yeah.
Going into the championship week. Like what are we talking about?
Yeah,
like,
why would you make it?
Why? Yeah,
why would you make
I do
it
that?
tougher?
Come on,
doesn't
man.
make any sense. Something I failed to mention at the top, and I apologize for this. We had a phenomenal debut week, thanks to all of you that were kind enough to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. It was an amazingly high number nationally in the sports category. We're really appreciative of the support you guys gave us and hope that we're able to do this at a level that will keep you doing that. But do want to remind you that the dynastybama.com is where you can find a listing of all of our social media platforms. You can go there. And again, we do ask that you go ahead and rate and review the show. Interact with us as well at the Dynasty Bama is where you've got a chance to be a part of it and interact with us and share your thoughts because we do want to hear from you in that regard. And it's been fun to do, frankly, this format, this podcast, and then still be able to have the impact on a daily basis, thanks to the job that Steven's doing for us as our producer and just really appreciative of everybody. So I apologize, guys, for kind of breaking the flow, not doing that at the top, but do want to remind everybody of how they can be a part of this and can get involved. All right, guys, the ACC and the Big 12 has said they like the 5+11 this past week, but really it's only the Big 10 who's sitting out there saying that they want the 4-4-2-2-1 model. So do you think they are trying to – we know the Big 10, the SEC are the major players. There's no question about that. So what do you think the Big 10, Trent, is trying to get done by playing this particular card right now? What do you think is the purpose behind that?
They're not sure. They're not sure that they'll have 4 automatically anyway
Okay.
every year. They're not. If you the OG like Greg, he's telling you, I'm sure of my SEC, we're gonna have at least 4 or 5. That's how
Right.
he feel. And if it's not the case, then y'all beat us hand down. Cool, I get it. But I feel like they're trying to uphold the rail of being. Let's make sure that the Big 12 do exist in this playoff system as the 4-4.
AJ?
Yeah, I think it's a lack of confidence in, their in their conference as a whole, right? They're top loaded throughout the entire conference of the Big Ten. They're not a huge factor in threatening the playoffs year in and year out, right? And I think that's why Greg is saying, "Hey, um, to prove my point against the Big Ten, which we have multiple Big Ten teams on the schedule coming up in the future. Let's make strength of schedule the number one metric you go off of. And if we do that, we'll prove that the Big Ten as a whole is not what we are as a whole. And I think that's why the Big Ten in the end is really pushing for the 4-4-2-2-1 concept. Everybody else is, on board with the 5+11. But I just like the fact that, I think Greg, when we have a clip
Yeah.
that we're going to play, but I think you'll hear him when he talks about or in this clip, he's talking about, hey, the fact that our conference is from top to bottom strong are stronger than any other conference, and that's how we view it. It proves our point that you have other conferences scheduling or canceling games, home and home games with the SEC because they don't want to put themselves in that situation. And if you're not going to have the metrics, the number one metric for your voting as strength of schedule, this kind of proves his point as a whole.
Yeah, let's hear it now.
When Nebraska cancels an agreement to play Tennessee home and home and cites, and I'm not criticizing their athletic director, this is a reality, cites the college football playoff selection process as a fundamental reason why. We have to understand the college football playoff selection process is threatening the regular season, not supporting it. Remember all those conversations people had about, hey, if you expand the playoff, you're going to diminish the regular season. I think there is something to that. I just think everybody missed that the regular season was being changed by the college football playoff. So point one is, whether people agree or not, I think the first issue that has to be addressed is the selection criteria incentivizing playing these highly competitive, highly desired games, whether that's non-conference or conference.
That's Greg Sankey on the Dan Patrick Show on Monday. Here's the thing. We feel like the SEC holds the cards, and those cards are only really valuable if you've got a great poker player that's holding them. And I think we got the best in Greg Sankey. I mean, of everybody in college athletics, he knows he's got the cards, but the fact, AJ, that he knows how to play them is the reason that's so strong.
100%. Listen, he's been doing it for a long time. He's an awesome commissioner for the SEC. He understands what he's doing, right? He's trying to um, play the system because he feels like the system is against the SEC. The SEC dominated for so long. This whole format was brought in to let everybody else join the playoffs and let more schools get into the conversation. We can't just have SEC versus SEC in the national championship. It started with us and LSU. People got tired of it, right? because that's the day and age we're in. Everybody gets a trophy. But he's doing a great job of not only playing those cards, but also saying, hey, you know what? I'm getting offered, I think, 50 to 30 to 50 million or 50 to 80 million, whatever it is, to add a ninth in conference game by ESPN. And he's saying, if there's a way for us to make sure, hey, strength of schedule is the number one metric, and you're going to take that into account as a committee when it comes to the voting process, and I get to add to our rev share for the rest of our schools in the SEC, we're only going to dominate more as a conference. It's only going to help us more. Granted, it might hurt us sometimes playing an in-conference game and somebody getting a loss that they shouldn't because you're playing against the top competition in the country. But at the same time, it's going to help you, your school, and every other school in the SEC recruiting-wise.
The thing I don't like about it, AJ, is what you just said. Like we're adding the ninth game, or say we add the ninth game, and we're in control of this for real, right? Because like you just said, like we got the best poker player in the world, right? But when you got teams like a Notre Dame, like what does that do for us, for them not to be playing in SEC champion? I mean, in a conference championship, like that does nothing for us but hurt us. But we gonna add another game, a brutal game, and we ain't talking about adding somebody from the Big 12, the Big 10. We ain't, like, y'all don't want to cross over. Like, I don't get that part. We ain't talking about adding nobody from the ACC. We're talking about adding another SEC game, and you're sitting there telling me you're paying me $50 million to do it. So yeah, I got the cards in my hand. Like, I can make this decision, and I think everybody's waiting on Greg to whatever decision he's gonna make. They waiting on him to to fall in line.
I think we're going to get the ninth.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get it, but I think the only way Greg's going to agree to it is if we are guaranteed, or not guaranteed, but we're going to be in position where the strength of schedule matters most. Because here's the thing. The SEC's already got the strength of schedule advantage. They want to criticize the fact we're only playing 8 games, and yet our strength of schedule already rates higher than everybody else's. You add another conference game, that's only going to go up. That's only going to get better, and we're going to make the money off. So you're going to get the financial piece that we all know drives it now.
Yep.
But you're also going to get the additional financial piece, which comes with having the majority of the teams in the playoff itself.
Yep.
Or at least you're always guaranteed being 1 and 2, basically, just because of who you are as a league. It's going to play out. And I think when the dust settles on all this, guys, it's going to be the SEC at the top and in the best position, because you got the best leadership in addition to the best brand. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we are going to move on and discuss now what's happening with recruiting season, and as best we can to protect everybody involved, we'll have a couple of recruiting stories shared. Names will be redacted in order to protect the guilty in all of this. But in all seriousness, summer official visits are underway in Tuscaloosa. Been a big week. We're going to talk about that a little bit and a whole lot more. Stay with us. This is The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Welcome back, everybody, to The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Don't forget, new episodes drop each week. YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, basically wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're looking for the show, just go to thedynastybama.com. And again, wherever you're listening, please be sure to rate and review the show. We got incredible response in week 1, and we really appreciate that, making us among the highest rated sports podcasts in the country. And it's pretty special to see that kind of reaction. Hope you'll help us keep the momentum going. If you want to interact with us as well, you can do so at The Dynasty Bama. All right, guys. Again, the the recruiting success, which it's amazing. We talk about recruiting and having success, but the reality is now so much of that success is judged on just keeping your roster from the previous year. I mean, that's a major, major part of it. Initial thoughts again. I know we discussed it last week, but would love to get you guys just a quick thought on what it meant to keep everything intact in the no entries in the transfer portal. In Trent to have the stability that it gives you after spring practice now as you're working in your offseason program.
I think it's big because you got to think about it's a process. It's a marathon when you're talking about building a dynasty or building a championship team. And it start from having the guys believe in you, and believe in what y'all doing out there on on the field on a daily basis. And so to have nobody go in the transfer portal, and have nobody leave, that tells you a lot about the program right now.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's a positive to have guys stay intact, or like last week, AJ say them checks are coming.
Yeah. AJ.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's just it allows the chemistry to be that much stronger going into year 2 for Kalen, and so I think that's the biggest thing is people buying into your process, your standard, the way you're doing things, people believing in you, and if guys believe in you, hell, it doesn't matter if you call peanut butter and jelly, right? It's guys believing in one another, believing in the coaches, and going out and playing hard and trying to make it work. So it's only a positive for them.
Yeah. And look, we know the coaching staff changed, or the head coach changed, and most of the staff changed, but the ranking did still top 3 for Alabama for 2025, but they've only got 5 players committed in the class of 2026. So what transpires now for the time period going forward is huge, and had 13 guys on campus, several 4 and 5 stars there again. And we know it's not all built on that, but that's a heck of a starting point. That's what it's supposed to be about, because AJ, you've talked about it many times. Coach said, give me the Maseratis and Lamborghinis, and I'll take care of it. Just get me the best talent, and we'll go from there. And clearly they're trying to keep that as the standard in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, 100%. Listen, when you're at a place like Alabama, it's different from Washington, right? Or you're at a place in the SEC. You got to be able to go after the top recruits. That's who you're going to go after. And you got to find a way to get those guys. You don't want to change their body style and everything else, and make them into another car. You're just taking them, building them up, and giving them an oil change. Um, and you know, to think about um, some of the best recruiters in the country, right? And going into a recruiting story for myself right here. I'm not going to name the school, but it was a school in the SEC, and um, having some of the best recruiters right on your coaching staff, and this coaching staff had an awesome recruiter. He was a younger black dude, and he came recruited us in Mobile at St. Paul's, and he was like, "Hey, come on a visit." And so I remember going on that visit, and I walk into the facility, and as a 16, 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, sure. It was only back then for you.
you're looking at the beautiful girls on campus, right? And we're waiting for the elevator to go up, and through the glass doors on the other side, I see a golf cart with 2 good-looking girls on the back, and I made a little comment like, "Damn, who are they showing around today?" He was like, "That's for you." I was like, "Oh, all right." And so we get
And
up
he
in the
wasn't talking about the
elevator,
golf cart.
and we go up to the top, and the head coach does a spill, and at the end was like, have fun going around campus today, and I'll talk to you in the end. Love having you here. Appreciate you being here. Anything else? You got any questions for me? And I said, yeah. I said, who the hell you got on the golf carts out there? I said, those two girls are good. I mean, beautiful. And he looked at me dead in the eyes. He said, those are my daughters. Don't touch them. Let's just say I didn't end up going to school there.
Yeah. And again, wish we could tell all of it
AJ.
because we know. We know. We know.
Man.
Keeping it with that same theme since he took us there. We got another one upcoming from AJ. But Trent, the floor is yours. We'll do this a lot on the show. Let you guys, I mean, obviously we're talking a lot about current stuff, but we want to let you guys share memories and as best you can without incriminating yourselves. So recruiting wise, give me one that stands out for you.
A funny one. My so we're doing an in-home visit with Coach Miles.
Les Miles at LSU at the
Coach
time.
Miles at LSU. And they was big on the board for me. My brother was at Lafayette. If I would have went there, my mom would have been able to see both of us. He was 30 minutes from Baton Rouge. My brother played DN there. And so I would go up to Baton Rouge a lot because I was going up to Lafayette to see my brother play. So anytime I go up there, we'll stop through. And so we had built a pretty good rapport with those guys. And Coach Porter was Tracy Porter was the running back coach. And he would call, we would talk all the time. And so on the official home visit, like back in the day, you used to do one home visit they could do, the head coach. And so on this visit, I think maybe the whole offensive staff came on this home visit, and my mom, the cook, everything. My kid's mom is actually in the house with us too. And so she got on an Alabama sweater. My mom is calling Coach Miles, Coach Saban the whole time.
While she's wearing a Bama sweater.
Wow. And I'm sitting there thinking like, Ma, are you doing this on purpose? But to me, it was my mom always say Terrence, Terrell, Trenton. Like she names everybody except for their name of the person, and we know who she's talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom is one of them type person that, she would say, hey, Chris or Trent, and she's talking to AJ. And AJ would know he's talking to her.
Right. Got it.
So to me, it's funny because my mom is genuinely, like, she's trying to hold conversation and she's enjoying, the visit and stuff like that. And so the room is like really, silent the first few times. It's like awkward. And my mom's still talking, he's still talking. So my mom say, well, Coach Saban, I see y'all really high on my boy. Y'all really love my boy. We're going to think long and hard about it. And this is going out the house. Feel like, yeah, I see y'all really love my son, Coach Saban. Y'all have done a lot. Y'all been coming down here. Y'all recruited them hard, Coach Saban. And we really do appreciate y'all, Coach Saban, for real. And she just kept nailing the name. And I'm sitting there like, oh, my God.
Knife through the heart for Les every time.
She had to call that man Coach Saban over 100 times. And she never knew she was calling Coach Saban. And so we walk out the door, and Coach Porter say, well, I see we know where you're going to go now, but we're still going to try to recruit the hell out of you, but we know you going to Bama. But we're going to get those guys to run for their money. And my mom, and I was like, Mom, what you say? Coach Saban, I appreciate you, Coach Saban. I said, Mom, it's Coach Miles. Oh, babe, I'm so sorry. I promise you. And I'm sitting up there rolling, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. It's over with for them.
That's awesome.
All right, AJ. You got the other one, the unnamed, was really good. But I know the one with names attached is even better.
Oh, yeah.
So hit us up.
We definitely got to tell
all-timer.
this. Another great one was Lance Thompson was the recruiter for Mobile and Trent's area, like the whole southeast, right?
Gulf
So
Coast. Mm-hmm.
he ends up leaving and joining Lane Kiffin at Tennessee. And Lane, I think, got the head job early December 2008. Well, this is leading up a couple months, probably 2 months away from signing day. And Jeremy Pruitt had been hired to take over our area. And Coach Saban was like, hey, I want you to go down. AJ had said, like, Tennessee's starting to hit him up, and Lance is from down there. So go down, watch his house. And I want to know if Lance is trying to backdoor us and steal him away. And he's like, all right. Well, Pruitt comes down, and he's sitting in front of the house, and he had been there for about 2 days. And one morning I'm knocked out. I think Dad's at the fire station. I'm sleeping. All of a sudden I get a bang on my window, bedroom window. Bam, 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 bam.
Smokey!
Yeah. Smokey! I wake up and I'm like, who the hell is banging on my window? And I open up the blinds, and it's Lane and Lance are leaned down near my window going like this. And I look behind them, and it's the whole offensive coaching staff for Tennessee.
Hanging outside your window.
Outside my window. And all you hear is Lance, let me in, let us in. And I'm like, all right. And so go let them in. Well, it's probably 30 minutes, hour later after they had left. And Coach Saban calls me. He's like, what you doing, boy? I was like, oh, nothing. Just getting my day going. I said, but I just had a full-on interview and meeting with the whole Tennessee staff. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, the whole staff was down here in my living room, and we were here for about 30, 45 minutes. And he said, I told Pruitt, Sass, to get down there and watch your house. Let me call him. And so he calls him. He's like, gosh, damn it, Pruitt, what are you doing? He's like, I'm nothing, Coach. I'm sitting in front of AJ's house. Like you told, he said, no, the hell you're not. Tennessee just left. And he's like, no, Coach, they haven't. Nobody's left the house. Nobody's even showed up to the house. So he gets out. He's like, let me go check. Knocks on the door. My little old lady down the street from me answers. He's like, is AJ here? And she's like, AJ doesn't live here. He lives 6 houses down that way. You just hear Saban was like, when Pruitt tells the story, he's like, Saban cussed me out. I mean, just ripped me a new one. He's like, I was sitting in front of the wrong damn house for 2 days.
Oh, gosh.
But what's even funnier, he had to go to my house and do the same thing because of AJ.
So here's my question. They show up. What's he supposed to do? I mean, was he going to shoot him with a squirt gun, blow darts? What are we looking at? I mean, he's going to call Saban, and then Saban's calling you to say, hey, here's what I know they're telling you. Don't listen. I mean,
hey, when the Godfather speaks,
just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Oh my gosh, that is so stinking.
Some great stories for us right there.
They are indeed. All right. Coming back, we got a few things to hit before we wrap it up. We teased this stuff at the beginning, but Ryan Williams on the cover of EA Sports. Also, huge news for Alabama basketball, something that's probably going to take them from the bottom of the teens in the preseason rankings to maybe top 10, pushing top 5 with the news that Labaron Philon is coming back. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, please, wherever you get your podcast. We're going to continue. It's The Dynasty, a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. More coming up after this. Hey, I want to remind you guys again, thedynastybama.com is where you can go and find all the links to our social media platforms for this podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. We call it The Dynasty. I'm Chris Stewart, of course, with AJ McCarron, Trent Richardson. We love having you guys be a part of it. You can interact with us at The Dynasty Bama. is where you can share some thoughts, but really hope that you will um, like, subscribe, and share wherever you consume the product here on social media. We really appreciate the great start that we had. Again, one of the top rated, top viewed sports podcast on Apple last week, and we're really excited. And all the other platforms where you're consuming it. Thanks so much for helping it happen. One of the things we want to make sure we do is we say it's a podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Obviously, football is going to be the majority of the conversation, but there were things that happened in the last week that were pretty big. Unfortunately, some bad news. Bama baseball, 2 tough games, but 2 losses in the Hattiesburg Regional, eliminated from the NCAA tournament as they fell 5-3 to Miami, and then lost to Southern Miss as well. A tough one to the Golden Eagles when they led that one in the 8th inning of their ball game. But their season is done. Not the only SEC team that got shocked, but tough and frustrating after one of the best regular seasons that Alabama baseball's had in a long, long time. But the great news, guys, that and really surprising, almost literally at the 11th hour, just within an hour of the deadline passing to be able to pull your name out of the NBA draft, and surprising to most people because we'd heard he was in regardless, but Labaron Philon opts to pull his name out, Trent. And so Bama goes from being, um, probably outside the top 15, maybe outside the top 20 in the preseason, to one that I think is going to be firmly inside that top 10 once again in the national rankings because of Philon announcing that he's coming back.
Man, I think it's big. Like we know, like that kid was a special kid. Watching him get recruited, and watching him last year, man. He was the spark for me. He was the guy. We knew Mark Sears was. He was coming back. He was the guy. He was the guy that was going to control the team and be the adjuster of the team. But when this young guy came in, it just seemed like the team just went to another level. Like, yeah, it was able to just be themselves, and he was able to, be a part of a great season last year. Even with injury, that kid came off the bench, and he came in as the guy that, you hey, go get us a basket.
Yeah. Athletically, AJ, so good, but developed into a better shooter by season's end. A big part of the reason they made it as far as the Elite Eight, and a big reason why I think he's a guy that can carry. Not that he's gonna have to do it by himself because they're gonna be pretty good in the backcourt with the veterans back, and some additions they've made in the transfer portal as well. But he is clearly a guy that I think can go from being fringe draft pick to now being able to play his way into the lottery if he can show the same type of improvement from start to finish of next year the way he did this past season.
Yeah, 100%. He could definitely play his way into a lottery pick. And, a couple weeks ago, got to play in the Regions Tradition Golf Tournament up in Greystone. And I got a chance to talk to Coach Nate Oates during that time. And it was pretty cool. I just, for a couple minutes, went up and had a conversation with him, and then asked him about, hey, how do you feel? Awesome year last year. It sucks, you fell short, but still an awesome year. How do you feel going into this year? And I think this is going to help his attitude towards it. He said, well, I think we're going to be young, but I think we'll still be able to get some guys, transfer portal and everything, and have a good year. So I'm sure, I haven't had the chance to talk to him since then, but I'm sure his hopes and spirits are up a lot more. He's a lot more upbeat since he's returned.
And kind of crazy that you're talking about, a second year guy, just a sophomore, being a veteran. You go from talking about how young you are to now, oh, we're so much better. And yeah, you're definitely saying that with talent, but from a guy who has been through a full season now, and initially in old school thinking, well, he's still a young guy. Heck, you guys both won titles as sophomores, didn't you? Am I forgetting that?
Nah,
Remember that wrong? But you both
No,
won.
we won them as freshmen.
Oh, excuse me.
Freshman, yeah.
Excuse me. But I mean,
I didn't play. That was more Trent's doing during that time. But
I got you. But I'm talking the sophomore year. I was thinking you both were right there.
yeah,
I had to, so it's again, you're called on to do a lot more, a lot sooner because there is no tomorrow in college athletics. It's all about today and what takes place now. And the big news today for Alabama football really is the publicity you get with having Ryan Williams on the cover of EA Sports. Big deal for him. He got to go back to, I say go back. He didn't play in Pasadena 2 years ago. But he got to go to Pasadena for the cover shoot for EA Sports and on the rebrand, the college football 26 that's coming out. Exciting for Alabama to have that opportunity, to have that type of exposure. The spot where you got Ryan and OSU's Jeremiah Smith on the cover. That's guys, that's quite an honor to be right there on that game.
100%. I mean, it's awesome. The cool part for me, being from Mobile, is the fact that Ryan went to Saraland and has been down here. So it's awesome notoriety and for him, exposure, and just getting his brand out there as much as possible. I tell you what, I don't know if they could have picked two better absolute dogs to be on that cover. I mean, both of those dudes are absolute ballers. I I think Ryan is on a schedule to continue to grow to be, but on top of that, Jeremiah Smith, if Jeremiah Smith could have came out last year, Jeremiah Smith would have been a first round pick. He would have been a top 3 pick. He looks like Julio Jones to me. Not to get off subject, but that dude's a freak. But it's awesome for Ryan and awesome for the University of Alabama to get that exposure. It's really a special moment for everybody.
And Trent, that again, we talk about everything impacting recruiting and how does it affect recruiting. I mean, for the kids now that are, just going into high school, but heck, the kids that are in high school or even on other college campuses that are playing that game, to see it and to see there's Alabama front and center, that's pretty special again.
Man, I think it was a genius move. I don't know if Courtney set up whoever. Alabama media team is doing a great job with branding these kids. Ohio State is too, but you got two of the most powerful programs in the world right now at the forefront of NCAA. Like, that is big. I don't care who you is. If you're on a video cover game, that is big time. And so you're looking at it as recruiting, like, hey, look at the branding these guys are doing. Like, look what these guys are, upholding when it comes to these players and pushing these players and getting them out there. If we're talking about recruiting, and that's something that me as getting recruited coming up, I base my skill set off the dynasty mode in NCAA. If they was running a 4.3 or 4.2, I was trying to be that fast. Like, that scene, they was 600 lifting 600 pounds and all. Like, that was me. Like, that's how I was basing my recruiting, because in high school, I'd never played a playoff game. So I didn't know how good I was, because we couldn't score 1,000 points on offense. I didn't play defense. So we didn't score. We couldn't stop nobody on defense. So for me, that's how I kind of rebased my recruiting.
And
Guys,
damn well, yo big ass ain't running no 4.2.
Oh, no, it was just a 4.3.
Boy, built
it was
like
just
a pit bull.
It was just a 4.3. I was a 10.3, 1 in 100. Come on now, don't do that.
You didn't have to run. You didn't have to run away from anybody because they couldn't bring you down anyway.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna run past you and I'm gonna run through you. It's either me or you.
Whenever I think of Trent, I think of the Marshawn Lynch clip where he's like, run through a face over and over and over and over and over and over
and over and over and over and over and over and.
Yeah, well, whenever I think of Trent, I think about what he did to that poor young man in Oxford, Mississippi that night.
No,
made that dude look like a fool in the backfield, and then made the kid show great courage and get up, run about 60 yards and track him down, and then made him look worse.
You know, it's so crazy because that's the worst teaching tape to run power on. Like when I watch it with the kids at the school, I'm like, oh my gosh, don't ever go backside on power.
Guys, fun. Really good show once again. Appreciate so much the time and effort, not only from you guys, but Steve Gorgie, who's our producer and does such a great job on this thing, putting it together for us and taking all of our nonsense, mostly AJ's, and putting it together in a format that that makes it where you guys hopefully are enjoying it. And again, hope that you'll like, subscribe, share wherever you get the opportunity on our social media platforms. And the Dynasty Bama is where you'll find us to find all those platforms. Guys, have a great week. Appreciate you so much, and we'll do it again.
Hopefully we're back for week 3.
Hopefully still employed in week 3. Roll Tide, everybody.